We're ready. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the April 26th meeting, for a special meeting for the purpose of adopting our budget plus some other business items that we need to take care of. So the first thing, before we get into the budget, there's some things that I emailed out in terms of support for the DC Community Action, because that is $1,934.94 that was not in the budget that we should discuss if we want to keep doing. It has not been done for quite some time. This email that was sent out to the village has asked to support this DC Community Action in the amount of $1,929.84 for the upcoming fiscal year. They do have an emergency fuel depot in Rhinebeck. They do support low-income families with the local food pantry and provide services. The village has budgeted this in the past, but not for, as I mentioned, for the last several years. So this is a discussion that is not currently in the budget. And before we go to adopt the budget, I would like to know everybody's flavor on doing this. So, any open discussion before we make a motion?
Just where did it come about? How?
It was a letter received from them, from the
Okay.
DC Community Action. It was a notice sent to us.
Okay. It's something that we get sent to us yearly. Yeah.
It's
Right.
my
I think so in the
understanding,
past, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, the village did support it like a few years, like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
My only question would be, how many of these type requests do we get? And are we setting, setting any sort of precedent? And do we need to have some sort of, I don't know, like idea about, policy or what's going on with that?
I don't know the answer
I mean,
to that.
I'm sure
Yes.
people ask
Well,
for free beer all the time, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah. I think our main concern with this in the past was that we're using Rhinebeck taxpayer money, village taxpayer money, and it's going to the county and spread out to different agencies within the county.
How they see fit.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, one of the things was weatherization, which is actually a federal program, I think. So it doesn't
Yeah.
keep the money in Rhinebeck.
Well, except for the food, there is the fuel depot here. And I don't know if it goes to any of the food pantries locally or not.
Right. I'm not against giving $1,900 and something to a local Rhinebeck food pantry, but this is
But
going...
we can't control that.
Right, what I'm saying, I don't want anybody to think that I'm against giving money to food pantries. So, but this is going to a county, then it goes into a big pool, and we don't know where the money goes. Apparently.
I think what you're saying is we should keep our giving local.
Yeah, that's kind of what we do with coin drops.
With coin
We
drops,
get a lot
with
of-
anything that's,
We get a lot of requests for people to
Fundraisers.
do, fundraising, coin drops, and
Yeah.
we try to keep that local.
Yeah,
So we know the money stays in Rhinebeck.
I think that's the right way to approach it.
You can control where the funds go.
Right.
If it's here, rather than it going out to the county and they distribute it. And it could very well be that the $1,900 gets spent not here. We're often overlooked because of our income in this village is always higher, and we're not qualified for a lot of these different grants. And second to that is the county is, as far as we're concerned, are shorted on sales tax revenue sometimes too. So if they felt the need to do this, they could probably come up with that money out of their own budget and fund it through the taxes they take from us.
Right. I was thinking of that too.
Does anybody want to make a motion then?
What would the motion to be? Should we just table that?
To table it and not, yeah.
Sure. And I guess the question is, are other municipalities contributing to this? I mean, that's another
Yes,
idea.
yes.
Okay.
I don't know which ones, but we did, they do.
I think for the moment, I would make a motion to table it.
Yeah, I mean, with the amount of information we currently have, which is not a lot, I think it probably just makes sense not to make a decision at this point.
Okay. A
Okay.
motion,
Second?
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So carried. So, Karen, this will not be in our budget
Okay.
proposed. So now, so with that, we'll go right into the budget. The budget has not changed. There've been some other, just some minor swizzles in terms of where the money is being allocated, but basically our expenses, $2,353, $2,353,097, with revenue other than taxes stayed the same as $742,052, and a tax levy, which is the amount that we need to raise, of $1,611.45. This keeps our tax rate as what we had proposed before at $4.17 per thousand assessed value. And we're under the tax cap, which was set at 1.0115%, by the same amount of $628. This includes also the capital transfers to the capital improvement projects as listed: capital fire for $50,000, capital streets for $7,500, the capital police for $7,500, capital parks and recreation $10,000, and capital for sidewalks $15,000. So the increase to the overall assessment has allowed us to stay, as I mentioned before, underneath the tax cap by $628, and the tax increase was from $4.15 per thousand last year to assessed value of $4.17 per thousand assessed value for this year. The other change was health insurance. We had in the budget a proposal, an estimate of 5% increase for our health insurance. When we met with MVP, our health insurance carrier, the actual increase is 7%. The employee contribution to the premium is currently at 10%, and that increases to 15%. And when you take this all into account with where we did it, the increase from 5% to 7% still gets covered by that increase. So it did not impact the budget in a negative way. The water budget was set at $961,636. The sewer budget, $809,923, and none of those require a rate change. So that's the summary of the budget where we're at. There was an additional item where we talked about last time, which was adding a full-time police clerk. That issue has been tabled for now. The police clerk is going, the current assistant is going to be taking additional tests in the future, which may change her availability to other organizations. So because of that, though, we did change the salary for the assistant police from $13,000 to $16,000. If the chance we need to make a change in the future during this year, and we have to go out and look for another police clerk. Current rate was $13 an hour. It gives us some leverage if we can't find somebody at the current rate. And that is in the budget, and also has no impact because we were able to take care of that. So they're the only things that have been changed since the last time we met in terms of the budget. Any questions?
Yeah, so we already know the health insurance is increasing by 7%?
Correct. We met with MVP last week.
Okay.
And locked that in.
So last year it went up 16%.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So we'd estimated, like I said, 5%, but actually went to 7%.
Okay.
And it's staying with the same package, the MVP Silver package which we had before. There's some shifting in terms of the overall contribution, in terms of the overall outlay, but it was all agreed to, and it will be part of the negotiations, and also in terms of going through that when we go through those discussions.
Mm-hmm.
But this covers us for the health insurance premiums.
Right.
Do you know what the approximate health insurance nut for the village is?
Karen, do you know off the top of your
Aaron,
head?
do you know what we pay for health insurance? Like, is there a consolidated number for our health insurance
For everybody.
for everybody? Do we have any sense for it?
I don't know exactly, but it's probably 100 for the general, probably 70 for the water, and I think like 50,000 for the sewer,
So
for the people in the sewer department.
230, 250.
Probably about
Mhm.
that.
Okay,
Very
in
rough.
that, right, okay, rough number,
Right.
rough number.
So just on the second page of the general fund, that itemizes the changes that we talked about last time. There are a couple other changes as of 4/26. For the elections, it was $500, that was increased to $1,000. Just to cover any election, because of the increase in elections. And the election clerk, 500 to 1,000. As I mentioned, the police clerk, 13,000 to 16,000. And then the attorney, we decreased from 20,000 to 19,070 and for that service. So. I have a motion to accept the budget. Or any discussion, further discussion? Motion to accept the budget as proposed.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Did
Yes.
you make the motion, Scott, or did Gary?
I made the motion.
Gary.
Okay.
Any opposed? So carried. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your help. And Karen, thank you very much for everything you've done to help pull this all together in a very readable form. I like that. Good. The next topic, now we have a lot of other additional subjects that kind of don't all fit into any categories, but the next item was the tree committee. Several months ago, there's always been a shortage on the tree commission. I think we're down to 2 people on the tree committee so far, and we need more members. And there was a recommendation several months ago to add Tom Johnson, who currently works for our highway department, to the tree committee. We didn't really answer that at the time. So now Meg Crawford has come forward again and asked us, as chair of the tree commission, I'll read her letter. As chair of the tree commission, with support of their membership, they recommend the village board to appoint Tom Johnson as one of our members. Tom has taken an active interest in the urban forest of Rhinebeck. He is constantly aware of and alert of the condition of our trees as he does his rounds as a member of the village highway department, and it brings it to our attention of hazardous trees. He has advanced his knowledge of trees by attending workshops and assessing hazardous trees in the DEC relief conference last year. He also attended many of our tree commission meetings without recompense. Tom has also helped at the highway department with our new trees and has dug holes and intended to help in the day in the plant and helps them. Every time you've been helping with the planning as well. For all these reasons, the commission is asking us to appoint Tom as a member of the highway department. Of the tree commission from the highway. So. And if any time there is a conflict of interest, he will be asked to abstain from voting and recuse himself. Sincerely, Meg Crawford, Chair of the Rhinebeck Village Tree Commission.
What would the potential conflicts be? I'm just kind of curious what the.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Like you guys would to remove a tree. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, you gotta say so, right?
I've heard that phrase expression for 7 years. I've never.
Well, there is a legality that we have to check into with this, with Rich Olson, because in the past he said something that because you're an employee of the highway department, there's some kind of technicality, legality that we have to check into before we can really appoint him to the tree commission.
Okay?
Okay.
Because you couldn't be on the tree commission before because of the legality.
Oh, so this was,
Yeah, this has been discussed in the past.
About 7 years ago, the village approached me and asked me if I wanted to take on that role. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known anything about it. Other than we had a running session over here in the municipal parking lot.
We could approve it contingent upon Rich Olson's review of the legal aspects of it.
Yeah, no, you're great for the tree commission. I know you really care.
I do.
You do, I know. And
But last time
there was some type of legality we gotta look into.
at our last meeting, there were 2 people that were recommended to the tree commission. Remember, I think it was at our reorganizational meeting?
Meg just walked in.
Oh.
Yeah, they were appointed.
Oh, they were appointed?
Yeah.
And they were,
Yes.
and wasn't there another one that lived outside of Rhinebeck? That we
No,
were-
the problem is that Nick Monaco, who has been a member
Right,
of the tree commission, sold his house in Rhinebeck
okay.
and is presently renting a house in Red Hook. And he doesn't know where he's gonna,
I see.
buy a house. So he's no longer a member of the commission, although he's, coming for the
Yeah.
plantings and stuff.
So I just wonder, what are the requirements of a tree committee member? Do they have to be a resident of the town or village? Can they live on the, elsewhere? I mean, what is the criteria?
Well, in the ordinance, I believe it says that they have to be in the village or the town.
village.
Oh, in the village?
Yeah.
Village
No,
residents?
or the town.
I think it-
Meg's in the town.
I think it's town.
Oh, town?
Village or town.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how many members do we have now?
4.
Okay. How many more, well, that's without Tom. How many more
Five.
You need one more, yeah. Tom lives in the town, so that's a good requirement.
I make a motion that we approve Tom to become a member of the tree committee contingent upon Rich Olson's review of the legality of him being an employee and also a member of the tree committee.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. And I will follow up with Rich Olson. I know what that is.
Just a reminder, this weekend is the planting.
Yes.
Anybody wants to
You're on the
volunteer?
camera, there you go.
I would like to invite everybody in the village and the town who would like to celebrate Arbor Day and see the fruits of their labor grow and grow and grow and grow for the next couple of years to come to our tree planting. We will be meeting at the old Hobson's Appliance Store at 9 a.m. Just bring good shoes, gloves, and shovel if you have it, and we'll train you how to do it when you get there. Thank you.
How many trees do we have?
We have 12 to put in.
12. Good. That includes the one that we had left from the
That's
highway.
correct. Which,
Correct.
has that been dug up, Tom?
Yes, it's with the others.
Good.
Super. Okay, good. So I hope we can get some additional people to come out and help on Saturday to
Yep.
plant some trees. It's always a fun time. And I hope the weather is good.
Yeah, and the bagel shop's
The
offering us
forecast.
donuts and bagels,
So nice.
complimentary,
And coffee.
and coffee.
It's important.
No donuts, I guess, probably just bagels. Bagel.
Okay, the next item I have on the agenda, there's no documentation, but it was brought to my attention we need to order a floral arrangement for Down to Park for Memorial Day. Typically, it's my understanding that this has been a cross that's been ordered, and so the question is, do we still want to continue that tradition of ordering a cross, or do we want to just have some other type of floral arrangement for there?
They
Well,
usually order not just the cross, they order the volume of flowers from Wonderland.
They create the cross. The
Yeah,
highway
oh, that's,
department
I'm sorry,
creates.
you're
yeah,
right.
that-
They
yeah,
create
out
it
of
and
flowers,
and
yeah.
plan,
Yeah.
Right.
and create it there at the park. So it's really, I think it's my understanding in the past, that's what has been done, but we do not have to continue that tradition if we don't want to.
And why wouldn't we?
It's, the only issue is, it's a cross.
Right.
Right.
That's the only issue.
Who's bringing this up?
It was actually, the only person that brought this up was our supervisor of highway department, asked me if that's what we wanted to do.
Oh, okay.
So that's where it came from. So Mike Wolf brought it to my attention and said, make a decision.
Well, I want me to make a motion. I'll make a motion that we continue the tradition that we had for the last 25, 30. How many years, Tom?
I would say at least that.
Yeah, 25 to 30 years, yeah.
Second.
Second,
Discussion?
discussion.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to think what the president brings on Memorial Day. I don't know.
The what?
What the president, the president also does a laying on the same day. I'm trying to think what he brings. I don't know. I'm not gonna belabor it.
You mean at the,
To Arlington, yeah.
Tomb of the Unknown.
They come to Arlington, yeah. On what they use.
I don't know. I think he lays a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown
Yeah, I
Soldier.
think so,
yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. Closed discussion as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. So Tom, will you make sure that, you ask Mike to
Will
make
do.
sure that this gets done
I relay that.
in preparation? Thank you so much. The Rotary is having a recognition for Citizen of the Year Award. Here in my folder. And I would like to know if the board would also like to recognize Nick Staley, who is being recognized by the Rotary as Citizen of the Year. If the village of if the board would also like the village of Rhinebeck to also do a similar recognition for him at the same time, at the same event, which we have been asked if we want to do. We don't have to, it's just complimentary in terms of the village. I did prepare a certificate of appreciation. It says awarded to Homer Nick Staley Jr. in recognition of receiving the Rhinebeck Rotary Citizen of the Year Award at the Rhinebeck Rotary Club Annual Service Above Self Awards and Recognition Dinner. Your commitment to dedication to improving the quality of life in our community are truly appreciated. Together we strive to make Rhinebeck and the Hudson Valley the finest place to work and to raise a family.
I think you said it.
Sounds good to me.
I think we can't go back now.
I'm not joking.
I'm
I'm
only
just saying
kidding,
is that the fact that you had that content to write that kind of stuff means that a guy
Yes.
like that deserves that.
Yeah,
It's just,
he's very
he's,
awesome.
him and his family have been instrumental in lots of different things, and one of the things I think a lot of us enjoy is Ferncliff Forest.
Yes.
And he's a constant volunteer there, and he rounds up the volunteers to keep that and maintain that place. So just for that and all the other, there's many other reasons, I would agree to award him that as well.
Okay. So
I'd like to make a motion. Do we need a motion for that, or what do we need for that? Is it
we should, just a minute.
okay, are there any additional?
Yeah, there is one more if you want to do them
I
together.
want to do them
Yeah.
as a bunch.
The second one is, there's a mistake on this one, but I'll correct that. To recognize the Rhinebeck Garden Club for their 90th anniversary. Again, this is not being as in that same ceremony, but it's to recognize them and deliver to them and thanking them for their recognition, for their help and support for all they do. They do a lot at the Doughboy and at the parks to maintain it. So the village, what I wrote here was the Village of Rhinebeck's thank you for your 90 years of being a group of garden enthusiasts who share an interest in horticulture, plants, and gardening, and appreciate your commitment to civic beautification in the village parks. So it's in recognition of 90 years.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
I agree.
Okay, so, make your motion.
A motion to, do we award the certificates, or what? What's the verb?
So Nick Staley's will be delivered at the time of the award ceremony, which is the 6th,
Okay.
I believe.
Got me.
And the Garden Club, we need to get that to them, arrange to have that delivered or presented to them. That has not been arranged yet because I wanted to discuss it here
Maybe they
first.
can come to our next formal meeting, and we can present it to them.
That's a great idea. Okay, we'll invite them. I like that suggestion,
Makes it official.
okay?
Okay. Motion, no motion, or what's the?
Yeah, just make a motion that we should give both of them.
We should. Then we should. I make a motion. We award both certificates, as stated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, so carried. Thank you so much. I think that's good. I think recognition is good.
Yeah,
You know,
they
and-
take care of the garden club takes care of the Doughboy Park over here. They do a very good job. Just along with the tree commission, they do a very good job too.
I remember the first time I met Nick and I asked him about we were talking about Ferncliff Forest, and I guess part of the bequeath is that it is only supported with private donations. There's no, which is very impressive in this day, very impressive in this day and age to have such a committed group of people who make such a
His
difference.
father, then his father's.
So that arranged for it to,
Yeah.
yeah,
Master.
Yeah,
yeah. So and that was in their charter, I believe, that it's only private money. So
right,
It's
right.
very impressive what they do.
So and along the lines of keeping with some of the correspondence, I also received correspondence for the use of a table at the farmer's market. This was sent to myself and all the trustees. I think you all got a copy. It was supposed to be put in your mailbox. It's from the Rhinebeck Democratic Committee, request permission to set up a table for the purpose of offering literature for Democratic candidates and advocacy for the November 2017 general election. This request pertains to Sundays during the farmers market hours until the seasonal close of the outdoor market. The specification is the table to be located on the west side of the village municipal parking lot on Market Street, just outside the entrance of the farmers market. And it'll be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. each Sunday while the farmers market is open.
Did they do? I think they did this last year. I remember seeing a table set up there. So,
Well, I think it was during the political season that it took place, rather than, so they're asking for a year-round, aren't they?
They're asking for the season, the farmers
The
market.
season of the fair.
Yes.
So that was one, I remember that. And then second, I think there was a lot of outside entities that were looking to put tables there. Remember, was it Dutchess County Democratic
Right,
Club and
right.
some other things, and we, again, trying to keep everything local. This is the Rhinebeck Democratic
Yeah.
Committee, right?
Right.
I know one of the discussions that we had was, wouldn't it be nice just to go to the farmer's market, And we all had that.
Yeah,
mean,
I agree.
you know,
I know, I
before
absolutely
Rick was
agree.
on the board, and, you know, there's lots of people that, not to say that, to your original, our discussion was precedent setting. You know, where do we then draw the line? You know, how many tables will be set up, you know, before our farmer's market turns into a solicitor's heaven, you know, so. I just wanna be cognizant of, you know, that we have probably the best farmer's market in, or one of the best farmer's
Yeah.
markets in all the county, and let's try to keep it that way.
Yeah.
Does the Farmers Market Committee have an opinion on this? On
This
other-
is
other people?
outside of the farmer's market, though. It's out.
Yeah,
Right.
if you want, I can comment on that as a former board member.
Yeah.
They do not allow political groups to have a table. They do let nonprofits have to apply for a table at the farmer's market, and they get usually only one week during the season to do that. You know, Wilderstein could do it, or the SPCA could do it, or whatever, but political groups have never been allowed to be within the farmer's
Within
market.
the park, that's within.
Right.
I mean, we have done any of them ourselves as a board. I did it last year for several weeks, the Power Line Committee, outside of the farmer's market entrance.
Well, I
as
think
well.
that's along the lines
Right.
with Scott. I don't know if it really has to start this early.
Yeah, the only thing
I
we
mean,
decided,
because-
I remember last time, was we wanted to keep it local,
Right.
only local organizations.
So we should at least, obviously keeping it local is a simple one, that we could easily say
Yeah.
that. And then we should also put a limit to, you know, how many at one time. And maybe the frequency, we should think about it. I don't wanna say no, but it's not, my comments aren't based on the applicant. My comments are just about keeping the
Sure.
farmer's market,
Is a farmer's market.
the farmer's market.
But I think there's sort of a natural tension there, that it's a place where people gather, it's a natural place for people who are involved to kind of come and see, but you don't wanna overdo it.
Right.
Right, you don't wanna overdo it, and so maybe that means frequency or a cap on how often one organization can do it.
And how many,
And, yeah,
right? We don't wanna lose additional parking spots. We wanna make sure the parking's available for patrons to visit the farmer's market, and so.
So, do you wanna think about setting some sort of limits? I mean, the local one's easy, and you wanna make it so that, we would limit it to 2 tables, and let's count how many dates there are from the beginning to the end of the farmer market season, and just say that no one entity could be there every week, you know, maybe it's twice a month or something, I don't know,
Yeah,
this is the
it's
first
great,
step.
that's right.
Yeah.
no,
Maybe sometimes we should keep it open. Just
And the farmer's
not let
market, the
anybody,
farmer's
you know,
market
maybe twice
opens,
a month
the
or
ribbon
something.
cutting is on the 10th.
Mother's Day, right?
Yeah, May 10th is when is the opening,
Right.
so.
Are there ever any vendors that are turned away from it?
What's that?
Are there ever any vendors turned away from?
Well, we don't have control of the vendors, that's the
Yeah,
farmer's
right.
market. I think
Yes,
the
there
jury,
are.
those people.
yeah.
I'm sure there's requested
Well,
spaces.
because there aren't enough spaces.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you want to table this for further discussion?
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
not say no, just say it requires further thought.
Okay.
Just to try
Yeah.
to,
And we can do you want to table it till our next meeting?
Yeah.
Just put an end, so we have an end to it, so we can
sure.
do it?
who here is the liaison to that group, to the farmer's market?
I don't know if we have
I
one.
think it's always been the mayor.
Yeah, usually the mayor's usually been, directly just
Yeah.
talking with the farmers.
I can do that.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, I don't know if we have to talk to them, right? I mean, because
I mean,
they obviously, they control their space.
They're controlling their space,
Right,
it's
and
up
we're-
to
it's
us
up
to
to us,
control
right?
the
It's up
space
to us
before.
to, yeah.
Right.
Which is the response we've gotten before, it's you guys, it's your space outside of those
Right.
boundaries that we give. So I don't know if discussion with the farmer's market is an issue, it's
Yeah.
a matter of what we want to do.
Well, I'm gonna kind of maybe take it from the top down, maybe look at it from the idea that if we are creating a little space for public advocacy or action, and based, and then there'd be based upon that idea, then there'd be some limits and rules to how many
Yeah.
organizations can use it.
Yeah, what might we do on a day like, for instance, let's say Rhinebeck Little League came in and said, hey, we want to have a table out there. And then we,
The soccer league comes in.
yeah, we
wants to
just
have
say
a table
that,
and-
okay, we don't want 4 tables out there, right?
Right.
And so then, we've okayed, this committee to come and do it, and then, so then the Little League says, oh, we have just this one fundraiser, we wanna do this. Where do we say, how do we make our decision?
Right.
No, I think valid points.
Yeah, no, I know, I'm
Yeah,
just,
yeah, no,
Talking
that's,
through it,
no,
I'm not-
no, thank you, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you may want to put a cap on the total number of times that an organization can,
yeah, because then any one organization could really, have a monopoly over the time.
Right.
And then it might exclude others from
Right.
that opportunity.
right.
I mean, I like the recommendation of limiting it to 2.
2 a month,
No, 2 tables,
right?
1 per entrance, because you have each side, and just, that would be a limit in terms of, and it can't take up a parking spot. Can't be in a parking area
Right.
where a park, there's space on either end, just outside of it where you can actually set up a table, which is convenient and close to the entrance to the farmer's market, and it would not confine or restrict anything else, so.
So 2 tables, and no one entity could frequent it more than twice in a month.
I think you may have trouble on the entrance side because of cars, because the way cars come in.
The east side.
We could put them both on the exit sign.
On
You
the
you
exit
can
sign?
put them right at the end of the
Okay.
aisle,
Yeah.
and it
All
doesn't
right.
take up a space.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty reasonable. I mean, maybe we can think about it a little bit more, but that seems like pretty reasonable.
and then this way it gives us some flexibility if someone else comes in, and then we could always, there's
No,
always an
in
opportunity.
in a way, I mean, in a way, it'd almost be nice. I mean, you're saying you just go to the farmer's market, but in a way, if the soccer league shows up or somebody else shows up, like, it's okay. It's a good civic
Yep.
moment. So,
So what you're saying, no more than twice a month, the same organization?
No, 2 tables is a total
Right.
limit, and then no one organization could frequent it more than twice in 1 month.
Right, and, well, that same organization cannot use both tables.
Right.
They're limited to 1 table.
They've got 1 table this week, and then
Yeah,
the
right,
other table next week.
Each organization is limited to 1 table 2 times a month.
correct. And then I guess otherwise on a first come first served basis. If
Right.
there's some sort
And
of-
now we have to go into we have to maintain a calendar, but we
Yeah.
could do that here in the office.
And then we'd almost have to do it on a monthly basis, because, I mean, what if 2 organizations come in and they say, we want every
Right.
other, and 4 organizations come in, and then,
Right.
But do we want to have somebody there every weekend? Can we limit it to? I mean,
Well, the
people
question
might
is-
not want to be,
Yeah,
I don't know, this is a good word, harassed every weekend
Right,
for
right.
donations, We
No
want to go
one's
to the
ever
farmer's
been that-
market and relax, we want to see what they have.
Yeah. But it's sort of fun, it's a little town square too, in a
Right.
funny way, so. And I think most people are that aggressive, right?
No,
I like this, I mean, 2 tables, max 2 tables.
Two tables.
The max, any organization could use it is 2 times per month, 1 table 2 times per month,
Right.
and they have to make the request monthly, is where we're at.
and it could be just a submission of
Yes,
Right.
and just like this.
an email or
It's-
something.
it's-
Right,
it's
and
a
then,
request.
and that would not require, it would not require any further action, basically. You would- If you're doing the liaison or somebody's the liaison, they just coordinate the calendar, we don't have to.
Yeah, if there's no competition, we could
Right.
approve it immediately that way and not have to wait for a board meeting to have that
Right.
discussion.
And so, and it would be not-for-profit, Rhinebeck, town and village based would be the limits.
Yep.
Right, local,
Right.
not-for-profit.
Well,
Well,
let's say, is local town of Rhinebeck, I mean, the
Town-
Rhinebeck as a whole, because when you say local,
yeah,
you
because
could
when you
say-
get to little leagues and softball leagues, they encompass a much broader area.
Well, are we saying limited to Rhinebeck, or are we saying what's local?
Rhinebeck, town and village.
I just wanna make sure, because.
Yeah, good point.
Rhinebeck,
Town and village.
town and village of Rhinebeck, not for profit.
We'll give it a little more thought.
Yeah, we've got a couple weeks to think about this, right?
We can.
Yeah.
Or we can do it, if everybody's comfortable with this, we can move on it tonight,
Okay.
you know?
It's on a month-to-month basis, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, now, I want to point out, my wife was just appointed to the farmer's market board. So I don't think that there's any particular conflict with this. I don't see that, but I did want to point that out. And then she also handed me a letter just before I left, which we can get to next.
Yeah, we can go to that next, yeah, because it's different, that's really different.
Here, Gary, we don't want any tables.
Oh, boy.
All right. Scott, do you want to make the motion?
Sure,
You have
I
it?
make the motion to, let's see, how are we gonna word this?
Create a policy?
Create a policy to, for applicants who want to set up a table, an informational table, or a fundraising type table at the farmer's market, that the limit of tables would be 2 per month, or 2 per week at the farmer's market, and the entities would be limited to 2 visits per month. If that's clear.
Then they have to be local.
And they have to be local not-for-profits. And each permission to attend, or at least set up in our parking lot, would have to be submitted to us on a month-to-month basis.
The first of the month.
First of the month.
First of the month.
But each approval would be, is that segmented for you enough?
So each organization is limited to 1 table 2 times a month, and they have to make the request monthly. The liaison can approve, does not have to wait for the board meeting. Local is town and village and non-for-profit.
I have a question. I mean, I know it's hard to make a motion on the fly.
Yeah.
Do you want to should we work through the wording and then we'll just do it? We'll do it next
She
time.
has it.
She has it.
No, but I'm saying just like.
Oh, yeah, I know. This is a-
did we get all the permutations right? Should we just take a moment to?
No, I'm
You
happy.
think you got it?
I think
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
Karen got it. I think
Yeah.
you listened to the conversation and then you pick up the highlights.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
All right. I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Good job. I like-
Okay.
So while we're on the farmer's
farmer's market,
you have a new request.
I have, yes, I have a request from the board of the farmer's market as advanced to me through my wife. That was also, I believe, I asked her to email it to everybody. So basically, one of the issues that the farmer's market has is that there's not enough parking for shoppers. And one of the issues is that there are vendors, even though not supposed to, are parking in a municipal lot. And that's taking up spots that could be used. So the question was, could the farmer's market have some of their vendors park in the village lot back here, behind this building? It would be, it says 10 to 5, 10 to 15 vendors, and it would be during the hours of the Rhinebeck Farmers Market. And so that was a request, and my guess is that we'd probably have to ask police and fire if that's, acceptable, if they can do it, or the way back, do you know what it is?
Well, so the parking that's beyond the building, so when we had it paved last year, so we used some of our parking in lieu funds that we've collected over the years. And to create some additional parking in the village, we repaved this lot and striped it
Right.
as such. So there is some, so there's parking that's allocated to the police department and parking that's allocated to the fire department. But beyond the police department, in the back corner there is public parking.
Okay, well, it's not signed for that.
I don't think, it's not private, it's not signed not for parking. It doesn't say do not park.
Right.
It doesn't say police or fire.
Right. Although you'd have to be a pretty adventuresome person, you have to run the gauntlet of the no parking.
There's no
zones.
sign saying that
No
there's
sign park
additional
here.
public parking to the left.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me just ask, so you're saying that the vendors park in the regular parking lots?
Right. No,
around the
yeah.
village?
Sometimes they're in the lots over
So
here.
this will free up other parking.
For patrons.
For patrons.
Right.
Right. The idea is you get more patrons.
The only thing I would say is that we wouldn't set aside that parking for them. I mean, it would be on a first come, first served basis in the back there.
Okay.
And it could not block.
And maybe because nobody really knows there's public parking back
Right.
there, they'll know, you can tell them to park back
Well,
there.
I mean, I'll
Yeah.
set.
They do now.
Well, yeah, no.
Yeah. They do.
Next Tuesday when they say,
Well, I'll just throw this out there, sort of in the discussion, that one of the things that we probably should look at is what people, helps people feel better about coming someplace, is to show them where to park, rather than saying, don't park here, don't park there. Say, weekend parking available, some sort of signage. So over the long run, I think it's something we should think about. But I do think we need to check with police and fire before.
Right.
we do
No, it's public parking.
that. Parking.
It really
Okay.
is. I mean,
Really? Okay. All right.
It's how we created that. It's, and
Okay.
it's the reason we spent the money on it. If it does need signage, then we need to put signage
We have
there.
to make sure that it's, and I know it's in the back, but we have to make sure that it leaves an open space for the police and the fire.
Well, there's
People
like a
come
little,
through.
there's like a little choke point, and then it's beyond that.
Right,
Right.
right.
So,
Well,
One of the issues is that they have to park in a space, so you can't create your own parking, because the ambulance does exit out the back of the building here, and getting the ambulance back in is a problem if people aren't parked in the correct
Right.
spaces. So. But everything else is pretty well signed, like if you, just running from Market Street all the way down, it's all
Right.
fire parking, and everything from Center Street west is pretty well marked for police or village
Right.
use only. But beyond that, it would be public parking.
so the reality is that already is municipal parking.
Correct.
Okay, so we don't really have to do anything.
We
We
don't
can
have
just
to do anything.
inform them that it's municipal
Yeah.
parking. Okay.
Of course, it's not striped back there, so
I think it is.
it is.
We have the whole thing covered.
It is on that side for like village employees, but on the back side, I don't believe it is.
It is in the back.
There's both John's vehicle, John Raimondo and John Fenton's vehicles, that's striped, but.
Further back is, I park back there.
Okay.
so these
By
are,
the
these
trees.
are regular vehicles, they're not big
Straight
trucks or
forward.
anything, are they?
These are two,
You know,
catch basins.
I don't
A couple of them
know.
have box trucks,
Yeah,
but
I was
they're
gonna
not
say,
big.
All the way
yeah,
to the
they're-
house.
Yeah, I mean, the farmer's market.
Because I don't think they can get anything bigger down loads of stuff in and out of the municipal lot.
Yeah,
If they're parking on this lot over here, they can certainly park it that way.
Yeah.
Right.
okay. All right, so I guess I will just then let her know that that's.
Yeah,
in-
walk it back there too, and just get yourself familiar
I
with it. and see-
actually I
Did you?
have, yeah, I actually have. I guess there's also a question, I noticed there's some other fire equipment, and it looks like maybe
The trailer.
a trailer back there, and I don't know if, in pursuit of parking over the years, if we want to, or in time, if we want, if that has another place to live,
Okay.
or, but
Is
that's,
that for the Bobcat? That trailer?
No, it's
No.
out of the shop.
Is it?
Is that for their four-wheeler?
Is it? Could be.
Could be.
I don't know.
I don't know, so I don't know.
Pokey?
No, I don't think.
All right,
so.
so
Well, but it's.
So
nice-
right now,
it's
it
nice-
is municipal
it is
parking
municipal
lot,
parking, okay, good to know.
and it is open to the public, and first come, first served
Serve
basis.
As a municipal parking
Right,
lot
it's
is.
a municipal parking lot. Okay?
Cool.
Excellent.
Thank you, and thank you. No.
All right, next item, I had sent an email out to everybody talking about a professional services policy. So just to recap, I'm just doing this as in conversation with Karen. I hadn't really had this conversation with Karen on treasurer, but I wanted to maybe form a policy that would set limits to professional services for the trustees and to use. Because today we currently do not have a policy that limits your interaction to interact with, entertain lawyers, talk to lawyers, or seek professional advice. But I think it's in our best interest to do that, to allow it, so that we don't have to wait for a board meeting to say, let's go, wait for the contingent, get a lawyer's opinion and vote on approving that and then moving on. So it doesn't apply to those decisions that we've talked about. It says, yes, we're going to investigate further by talking to a lawyer or to get professional services, engineering services. It allows you to go ahead and make that initial evaluation and come to the board with information that will help me move things along in a quicker fashion. Secondly, it also then sets it so that there's a cap, so that we don't exceed and we're not spending more than what we think we should be spending on legal services. And I don't see that we are. This is not an issue that this has been a problem. It just kind of sets the policy that allows you more to say, we have this flexibility to be able to do this, and it's a policy that applies to allow to move things forward. I also want to state that we have NICOM for legal services. NICOM is available. We pay for NICOM. They're a valuable resource. If you need legal advice, you call them up, you get somebody right away, and they're pretty quick about responding. So that's an avenue we should always proceed before getting, if we needed legal advice on an issue to go to. This is outside of that. If we can't, get it there, we would be able to seek and get advice. So this is open for discussion in terms of trying to set a policy for doing this. 'Cause we, as I mentioned, we don't have one.
Right.
My only question was, you know, is there a minimum charge every time we pick up the phone?
Yeah,
That's, you know, and what that is, so we just need to, you
Karen
know.
collected those, right?
Yeah, I
You have?
didn't,
Oh,
yes, I can
oh.
go print them out, but, Rich Olson's 175 an hour, and then the engineer gave a whole list of theirs.
With a minimum, but it's like, when the first minute is an hour, is that, you know?
No.
Oh, I don't
I think it goes by
I think
15
it
minutes.
goes by
15, okay,
15
okay,
minutes, every
okay.
15 minutes.
Okay.
It should be in our vouchers. If you look at what the lawyer charges,
Yeah.
it'll say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
15.
I
It's a
don't know.
15-minute minimum. I think.
Okay, so
Yeah.
15-minute minimum.
I believe it, we can
Okay.
double check that.
Okay. So that was just my only concern,
Yeah.
that, you know, if it became too easy, suddenly we'd be.
So you gotta gather up all your questions, so you
Right,
can talk to them
like
for
one,
15
right,
minutes.
exactly.
My primary motivation was to free it up for.
No, I understand,
for
yeah.
trustees. That was the motivation behind this.
We kind of just do it on our own. I don't think I've talked to the lawyer in about 3 years, but. I mean,
But if
it's
you
not that we
had
abuse
to,
it,
you
but-
could.
Yeah, yeah.
With this.
Well, we've always been.
We always
Yeah.
have, yeah,
But we didn't have a policy, we just did
No.
it.
right.
So, but
And
how
we
do
can
you
continue
monitor
with
the
that
limit?
process.
And how do you, what would be the limit, and how do you know you're at your limit?
So I thought about that, one thought would be to say you would get an estimate. You would, if you wanted, let's just say you wanted to talk to Crawford and you said, listen, I wanna get a quick estimate, I wanna have this discussion. You know, is this something that can be contained within X amount of hours? And then an estimate is an estimate. You may go over or under that estimate because we all recognize that it is an estimate, but at least you have some sort of guideline that says, you know, with good conscience, you're going into this knowing that it's gonna take 4 hours or whatever, and that's the estimate that, or whatever we decide.
All right, so I'll be the opposing opinion.
There is no opposing.
No, I'm just saying, so we are all entrusted to be trustees and to use our best judgment, and just everything that we do is acting on behalf of the village. It hasn't been a problem in the past, that we all are very efficient when it comes to the use. I mean, Howie even just said he hasn't talked to the lawyer in 3 years. I think in my 2 or 3 years here, I've talked to one maybe 5 times, and so I just think it seems very restrictive to, if you have a pressing issue, you have to ask someone, oh, what's the estimate? How long do you think I'll be talking to you? And then they say, oh, this could take, for you and I to resolve this 3 hours. I mean, rather than getting to the issue and trying to just resolve something, and the only reason that we would call is for probably a quick opinion. We're not calling for someone to for Crawford to redesign the sewer treatment plant. We're not calling a lawyer for, to take a case or to do anything long-term. It's really for, what should I do next? And so, if it's not broken at this point, I would just, I think that we're trusted people, and that we are all pretty smart and know how to handle that. It's,
Go ahead.
No, after you, please.
Well, just the only persons we call are engineers to ask them, questions on certain things once in a while.
engineers and attorneys. I mean,
Yeah, and attorneys also, but more so engineers, I believe, so.
When it comes to like redoing, like we redid West Market Street, I mean,
Right.
stuff like that, that is a longer term thing.
That's a-
We'd engage
that's a
them, they give us a
capital
proposal, we
project,
sign a
yes.
proposal, they do that.
Okay.
That's a
That's
way
a different,
thing.
that's not even into this. It's just, if we needed a quick decision and you needed an hour, or you needed 2 hours, or whatever, it was,
Well, maybe we could run it by you if somebody has an issue with a lawyer or an engineer and wanted to sit down and talk to them for 2 hours and.
but see, I'm of the opinion that I really trust you guys to be able
Right,
to
well-
do it. So that's where I'm at. And
Okay,
so it's
well
kind of
then-
along the same lines as what Scott was proposing.
Yeah.
I want you guys to have the flexibility to be able to go do it and not, because there was no policy. And if we can create a policy that says it is open within, that you are trusted, as Scott has mentioned, that can be our policy as well, right? So, the purpose was to make sure that we can move forward and not wait, and nobody's gonna sit back and wait.
Well, I guess that was the question. So were there situations where we had to wait a board cycle for an outside expert to get contacted? Has that come up, or no, we can just do that on the?
No, and the other thing too is that oftentimes via email, you know, I mean, if there was a bigger issue and that we needed to do something, we could easily solicit emails amongst ourselves saying, hey, I have a bigger issue I need to address with an attorney, it could be a couple hours.
Yeah.
What's your opinion? I mean, so we do some of that stuff that way.
Yeah, if we think it's gonna be a big expense or a big,
Yeah.
you know, like, you know, when we're gonna get the engineers down to talk about the water and sewer department. I think we negotiated with them, they wanted to bring 2 engineers, all of a sudden, 2 engineers, and they were gonna charge us, and we said, no, can you come down for free? And they said, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I think we're cognizant of that.
I know we are.
Yeah,
You guys
so-
do, this is, you guys do a great job. This is not, you know, this
Yeah.
is just, do we want to have a policy, and our policy can be continue as is, or our policy can say, let's set a standard. It's really up to
Guess
you.
it should
It's up to you
continue as
guys.
is.
That was
It's up
my
to you
opinion,
guys.
I
Yeah.
just-
Yeah, I think we don't need to overcomplicate
Okay,
it
excellent.
at this time. So the policy is basically that the trustees are
So,
trusted.
so,
That's the name.
yes,
the name, right.
trustees, so, very good.
Okay.
Right, moving on, yes, done. The other thing I had was John Fenton, I believe put in everybody's mail, a notice of violation in order to remedy. I don't know if anybody had a chance to read this, it came out just a couple days ago. So this dates back to an issue that we're currently under litigation for, and he asked us to move forward on this tonight if we could. I'll just read his summary in case you haven't had a chance to read it. Attached is a notice of violation order remedy dated back on November 14th of 2016 to the property owner of Gregory Young. Mr. Young contacted me back in November 2016 confirming receipt of the notice and explains his intentions to repair, this is the sidewalk, in early March of 2017, which is after the winter. The sidewalk has not been repaired to date, and there is a present litigation on this matter. I am requesting that the board discuss this issue at the next opportunity of the village board and allow me to direct the highway department to make the necessary repairs to remove the current violation and present a trip hazard in accordance with our rules and regulations.
Do you know exactly where the sidewalk is?
Yeah, it's right
Is it
down
on
here.
Center Street?
It's
Or is it
on, it's on the corner, basically. Yeah,
I know there's a lot of
yes,
sidewalks out there, and in the past, what happened was, I don't know, I think you were on the board when we fixed the sidewalk on the corner of the 4 corners here. We had the same situation. We went out and hired somebody to fix it, and then you bill them, and then they paid.
Well, that's what he's.
I know, so I think, I
He'd
agree
rather
with it,
than we have the
I agree with it
He'd
then.
probably rather than hiring somebody, we direct the highway department to make that fix.
And then they'll bill them back for whatever the
Yeah.
department, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
Sounds like it's time.
We really need to do this to protect ourselves. And that's when you get down to it. If we don't act on it, we now are really, we've been notified, there's litigation, and if we don't act, we are negligent in terms of that liability, so.
Okay. So is that a motion to have
Yes,
John Fenton direct the Public Works Department of the Village of Rhinebeck to repair the sidewalk at parcel 70, well, at this
19
parcel-
South Street.
19 South Street, at 19 South Street, as expeditiously as possible, and to come up with a bill and bill the property owner for his time and materials.
I'm sorry, what was the address, 19?
19 South Street.
South Street, okay.
Second.
Second, Howie, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
So the process, so the proposal to fix, you know anything about this, Tom?
No.
I wonder what he's proposing to fix, how he's proposing to fix it, tear it out and replace
It's
it?
probably bluestone, right?
No, I think it's
No.
concrete.
It's in here,
There's a picture.
yes. If you look at the
No,
pictures here.
there's another spot that's bluestone over here, that's why I asked exactly where it was, but.
Well, you know what?
Probably
Maybe it is
use
bluestone.
quarry iron and use a tamper.
It might be bluestone. You might be right.
If it's caused by a tree root,
No, there's no tree in the vicinity.
It looks like, And we've already had somebody sue us, sue the village over the condition of the sidewalk.
So the motion has been carried.
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna move forward and get that, and remedy that. All right,
I think,
the last issue that I had was the approved minutes that were sent out by Pat for 4/4, 4/10, and 4/11. I noted I sent a correction, Howie sent a correction. I'd like to make a motion that we approve those minutes with the corrections as noted. Anybody else have any?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay,
do you want to talk bond?
what?
Bonding?
Yes, so any other business?
Okay. So, one, I want to talk about, what's that? Well, right now we are scheduled to bond for a fire truck at $465,000. We are also scheduled to buy a new police car at $40,000. And then there's also a discussion about purchasing a new dump truck for the highway with a wing plow and a new front end loader for highway. So it's best if we're gonna bond for this, to do it all in one package. And what I'm asking for really is having, because there's a rather lengthy time process that we have to meet because of the bonding for the fire truck. What I'm asking for is to have our council prepare a resolution to authorize us to make a borrowing and not to exceed, and we'll do the numbers first, not to exceed a certain amount, which would basically allow us, if we wanted to borrow this money. We don't have to, but it would give us essentially the flexibility to do it in this coming year, depending upon what we want to do. So really, basically, this is opening the door. It's not saying we're stepping through it. And the total number that we're talking about is $310,000.
No, I can't.
No. Because the fire truck's 450.
No, to add.
Oh, to add.
To add.
So, but we haven't talked about a loader
Yeah,
and
we
a
haven't
dump
talked
truck.
about anything like this.
Well,
Right.
I think, we haven't, and I think the point is that it's a discussion that needs to be had.
Okay.
And again, this isn't saying it would be done. It's the question is if we would do it, it would enable us to bond and do it. It's simply more efficient in terms of preparing the borrowing, preparing the bond.
But the timeline for the
Yeah,
truck
that's
and
what I
the
was gonna
car
say, yeah.
Okay.
is a little bit more immediate, right?
Right, what drove this, getting the numbers together, is that we're on a timeline for the fire truck already. So the fire truck is due to be delivered in June. If the usefulness, which for the highway it is over 5 years, we need to have it in the paper for 20 days, and then we need the 29 days of stopple period, so we're about 50 days out. So the one question was just go on with the fire truck and do the fire truck the way it is, but if you want a better rate and you want to combine and do one bond issue, which would be less money in the long run to have bond counsel do one rather than 2 or 3 if you're talking police car or whatever. Then we would need to, the board would need to have that resolution for the May 9th meeting. I mean, that's kind of what's driving it, so.
Well, okay, guys, I thought we had money in the budget to purchase a police car, in the capital budget.
Well, that's the other thing,
We do.
the other,
Okay.
or
And
do
the
you
question is,
wanna?
do you want to use that money or do you want to bond for
Well,
the money?
I just have a general question too. Why don't we buy a police car or a truck? Why does it have to be a bond? Can't it be a loan from the bank? I mean, what's the difference between a loan and a bond?
Well, you're gonna get a better rate with the bond. I mean, and the bond
Even
is
if you
your
gotta pay
loan.
money up front to
Your
get the
bond
bond?
is your loan, I mean, the municipal, I mean, the bond, it is,
You get a better rate?
At a lower rate.
You get a
Yeah.
better
Lower
rate
rate.
with a bond than when you buy, I mean.
oh yeah, because we went out, we did the
Right.
leasing of the police car and the rate was, slightly, it was a 5-year lease to purchase, and the rate was a little bit higher. I mean, leasing rates are coming down, I mean, there is that discussion
No, not
to
leasing,
have.
just buying, you get a loan, like when you buy a car, you get a loan, a car loan.
I think
Well,
this is,
we're
this
talking
is,
about
This is the way we get a loan.
Efficient,
Efficient way to
more
get a loan.
efficiently is the packages all as one.
Yeah, but I don't understand how you're saying
But my question would be this, is that,
the interest rates.
yeah, well, what happens if we don't follow through with the purchase of the truck or the loader? How does that then impact any of this?
They just borrow less.
They
We
borrow
just
less, it
borrow less.
doesn't, our rate wouldn't change, I mean,
Well,
the more money you borrow, the higher, the lower the rate's going to be,
Right.
right?
So-
So if we
went
say,
back to just the 465,
right, the rate's now gonna go up.
right.
Because they're,
so what's,
I mean,
yeah,
it's-
if I understand it, what's driving this is just, we wanna make sure, we wanna keep the fire truck on schedule.
well,
And it's not.
Right,
we
we're
committed
in
to
a
buy
truck.
the
Right,
truck.
yeah, I know. I didn't mean
You
it
want
that
to
way.
have a truck that's $280,000.
I mean, it's just
We haven't even
more of a
talked
Yeah,
strategic
I understand the
planning
approach, we're just not as far along, I mean, the truck is coming in
Yes,
and-
6 weeks or something.
and we have not made any decisions on trucks, plows, loaders, or,
Right,
yet,
and,
or police cars yet.
and there was it just came in this afternoon, there was a rather detailed response from our bond counsel about how you do this.
Okay.
So that you can have one bond issue which is covering multiple objects with different lifetimes and such like that. So that's not it's a commonly done thing.
So the efficiency is more on the bond council, I mean, so that these people are working on, rather than we have 3 different bonds and 3 different sets of counselors working on those things, it's efficient and.
We put them out as one, and I guess hopefully in the rate, if how much we borrow will change our rate.
Right. See, like the truck really is due in 6 weeks, so I don't know if we're gonna move on a loader or.
But we don't have
have
to
to.
buy it. It's only the authorization for us
Okay.
to potentially borrow it. We're not borrowing it, it's only the ability
Yeah,
to
if
borrow it.
it still gives us the flexibility to buy or not to buy,
Yes.
and it's,
No,
yeah,
the,
then there would
the,
be no reason why we wouldn't.
whether we actually make these purchases
Yeah.
is subject to a much more detailed and intense discussion. But in terms of, it being on a cycle and being a bit more efficient with it, that's the idea.
We're not obligated to spend the money.
We are not obligated to spend the money.
Is there an end period, though? Do we have to make a decision by? In other words, if we say, let's just say we go forward with this, there's a process of going forward, they get public approval and all that, to get all this lined up. And then if we wait 6 months to make a decision on buying a
Oh,
truck?
the resolution is good
Yeah.
for 10 years.
Oh,
That's what,
really?
yeah, that's what
Oh.
our financial advisor said, so.
Wow.
A question, how long when did the order go in for the fire truck?
Last year,
Last year.
that was done last year.
Yep.
Because, if we don't get another truck, we're euchred because we have a truck without a plow.
Tom, that's a discussion that's a
Another
pending discussion.
another discussion.
This is just a matter of
The financial.
the financial.
Strategic
Okay.
planning of
To
it.
deal with that.
Rick, I'd say sure. I mean, if it means
Okay.
that we're not obligated, we can get better rates and there's some efficiency in getting the bond,
Mm-hmm.
then I don't see any reason why we wouldn't.
And it does leave us flexibility if we do go forward, to save our money and,
Right, and that's the
Okay.
other discussion is, do you wanna spend the whole 30,000 in your capital for I'm
That's
just
what we've
gonna
been
say-
told the last 3 or 4 years, that's why we're saving it.
Right.
Now all of a sudden we gotta borrow money again.
Well, the other discussion though is that I think there's other cars in the fleet that may need immediate replacement. So the idea was to bond this one.
That's
and
what we said
then-
the last time, though.
I don't think we did.
Yeah, we did.
I think we've been saving. I know that's the arrangement we have with the truck, we've been saving 50,000 a year towards the truck. We decided to bond this truck and then in 3 years, we'll have enough to purchase the next truck. So.
You're talking about what truck?
the fire
We're
truck.
talking about fire, I'm talking
Oh,
about fire
fire
trucks, the way that
truck,
we've
okay.
arranged the.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not judging it,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's your yes, it's your choice to use the capital and purchase it, or it's your choice to, I'm just gonna say the police car, cause it's a 40,000. So right now, we transfer 7,500 to the capital, we have 30,000 in the capital. So if you bonded it, then that 30,000 would sit there and be there, and then that 7,500 next budget year would be the payment, the principal payment on that portion of it. So it's just more of a strategy. Do you wanna take the 30,000 and use it and spend it and start from?
And we can
from the
still, and
beginning?
what's nice, if we do this, we can still make that decision. We're not stuck with this decision, we can still make the decision to spend it out of the capital if we want.
So what's the rate on a bond? It depends on how much we borrow?
It really
Don't
depends.
know.
They kinda gave a schedule of 3.75 for the, for 15-year financing for the, 465,000, so. I didn't run any numbers,
Right.
cause this all kinda was real time and it was just kinda happening like, is it possible to, consolidate them and to do one issue? So we just found out that we could. We also found out that we're on, as you said, we're on a time schedule with the fire truck, so,
I think I would like to hear the answer, and I'm looking through, I do not see an answer to that question, is how do our rates adjust based upon how much we actually wind up borrowing? Let's say, so if we authorize, it's gonna be up around $700,000-800,000 would be the total. What's the difference if we only spend the 465, if we only buy the truck? I wonder how does
Well,
that, how does that adjust? I think that was.
I think that our financial advisors get quotes. They kind of do the bidding for us. And they'll come in and tell us, this is what
Okay.
rate you can get.
Right.
But, I mean, if we are only obligated now to buy the truck, which is 460, all the other stuff is, we obviously have some discussions to have over, we have to, we have to specify the truck and get bids for the truck, and there's all and the same thing with the police car. But the thing is that the rate we're talking about, we're obligated for half of the money, and if we're looking to borrow 900 when we only come in and borrow 450, and someone who bid on our loaning us the money is not gonna be happy that they're only loaning us half the money and they're at
I think there's gonna be
lower
pressure
rate.
on us to use all the money, that's what I'm worried about.
And that's a
Well,
really
then-
good question to ask.
Right.
I mean,
Right, so I think the question is just can we get a little more detail on how that works if we decide that we're not gonna use the entire authorized amount? That would be
I
my
think call
question.
them and,
Yeah.
okay.
And then how you have the other point, which is it's hard when people have money in their pocket, people
Well,
spend it, right?
and I got a
That's
question
another
about this
issue.
truck, what kind of a truck, can we talk about
Yeah,
it?
no, we don't.
No,
we're not
no,
ready
we've
for that.
no,
We're
no,
not
How do we have
ready
a
for that.
price of, how do we
I
know?
think you can get a rough estimate.
We have, there are some old estimates.
And just for the benefit of having the bonding discussion, you need to have a
No,
rough
I understand.
idea,
Yeah.
order of magnitude.
Right.
Yeah.
But then the other thing we have to think about is, like, we're talking about police cars, what other trucks are gonna be due? Like,
Right, no,
if we get a new truck now for a big amount of money, what are we gonna say next year we need another truck?
I think this discussion is not a substitute for that discussion.
Right.
I think that you're asking all the, you're asking all the
Yeah.
questions, and I have the same questions as you are.
Right.
How are we gonna make fit together? We're just pushing this one.
We need a plan.
Yeah, we need.
I know, but I
we
mean,
need-
okay, I understand with the bonding, okay, we're
Right.
done with that, but we gotta think about all the equipment we have in the highway department.
Right.
And, what's coming down the line.
Yeah.
We need a plan.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
need a plan.
Yeah.
Agree.
no, for sure.
I think we're all in
Right.
agreement with that.
Right.
That we
Yeah.
need a plan, and that will be part of an ongoing discussion before we make the decision to move forward.
Right, I mean.
So I think
I'm
we're
not-
at the point where what we're saying is, we're gonna table this, get some more information, and come back on the 9th. Because I think we're meeting,
Is
right?
that- Yeah.
Everybody in agreement with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but you say we're not really thinking about the truck, but we are, we have to think about it if we're gonna come back with a number we need to borrow.
It's just it's an estimate of dollars, is what it is to
They come back and say that you're not obligated, your rate's not gonna change, whether it's 460 or 920 or whatever it is, and it really kind of just, and there's some efficiency in the cost of getting the bond by doing it for a larger amount of money, then it would make perfect sense for us to go ahead and do that, if we're not obligated to spend and we get a better rate. If it comes back and says, oh, you know what, it's adjustable and you know you gotta spend the money, then we'll decide no, it's
Yeah.
not.
Right.
Right.
And,
That's,
Okay.
okay, so this.
Does that make you comfortable, Howard?
Okay.
well, no, and
No, I just want to say, I've been spending a lot of time looking into alternative methods of picking up the leaves and the brush.
Right.
And now we're just throwing it out the window
well,
by getting another dump truck.
No, Howie, we're saying we need a plan.
Well, that's what
We're
I'm
always
saying.
we
That's
need
what
a
I'm
plan,
saying
and this has
too.
nothing to do with that plan.
Okay.
We need to have that discussion on a plan.
right, and this is something that's on, now that we're through the budget, is really, we have some paving projects that are upcoming, but getting a handle on what kind of equipment we have, what do we need, what's the schedule, what does it look like, that is really a high priority for me, because there's a lot of very expensive machinery down there, and we need to figure out.
Right. I know we need another plow for next year, I know that.
How long is it gonna run, and what do we need, I mean,
Right.
we do with the fire department, right? The fire department has
yeah.
done this. So, we should be in a similar, and there'll be discussions about that.
So in regard to bonding, we're gonna get more information, we're gonna come back on the 9th. And
Okay.
we'll put it on the table again for the 9th.
Okay.
Okay. Our guest, do you have anything you would like to say? Excuse me, is there any other business by the board?
No.
Any, would you like to address the board? Any comments?
No,
Oh.
I just came to hear about the budget. I
Well,
thought
thank
there'd be a
Okay.
crowd.
That was the public hearing last.
I know.
Yeah, we had a public hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Indeed.
Appreciate your company.
Letting me sit in was very informative to me.
You're welcome anytime, for the second Tuesday of the month.
Yeah, we're lonely in here.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn, or we-
Yes, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn and to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing a grievance issue and a recent update on a lawsuit and some appointments to committees. So,
Second.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
So,
All right, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the executive session. Second,
Second?
favor, and make a motion now to actually close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Thank you.